It was just after sunrise when Daniel Carter's old pickup sputtered its way down County Road 17, the sky still soft with the colors of morning. He was running late again, the kind of late that makes your stomach twist because you know the boss is keeping score. Money was tight, and every minute mattered. But life has a way of putting the right person in your path at the wrong time. Or maybe the other way around. He spotted her before he realized what he was seeing. An SUV pulled halfway onto the shoulder, hazard lights blinking like a desperate plea. A woman stood beside it, arms folded against the cold, her face tight with worry. Daniel could have kept driving. Plenty of folks did. But something inside him, maybe instinct, maybe empathy, told him to stop. What he didn't know was that this small act of kindness would change everything he thought he knew about fairness, fate, and the way the world works. Before we begin, if you're moved by stories of kindness, second chances, and real people making a difference, please hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. It helps more people find these stories here on TruthLines USA, and we're grateful to have you with us. Daniel pulled up behind the SUV, snow crunching under his boots as he stepped out. His jacket was thin, too thin for the November wind, but he forced a smile. "You all right, ma'am?" he asked. The woman nodded, though her eyes said otherwise. "Flat tire. And my phone died. I've been here almost 30 minutes. Daniel glanced at the SUV. "I can change it for you, if you've got a spare." She exhaled with relief. "I do. Thank you. I've got a meeting I really can't be late to." "Well," he said with a small laugh, "I know that feeling." He didn't mention that he himself was now definitely going to be late for work, or that another absence might cost him the job, or that losing his job meant more than lost wages. It meant he wouldn't be able to keep the tiny two-bedroom apartment where he and his 6-year-old son, Noah, lived. Things had been falling apart faster than he could tape them back together since his ex-wife left the state without warning a year earlier. He had full custody now, but the bills that came from fighting for it had drained every cent he had. Still, he told himself, kindness wasn't something you offered only when it was easy. He found the spare tire, lowered the jack, and got to work. His fingers stiffened with cold. The lug nuts fought him every step. Halfway through, the jack slipped, and the car thudded down an inch, sending a jolt of panic through his chest. "You okay?" she asked. "Yep," he said, though the ache in his wrist suggested otherwise. "Happens sometimes. I'll get it." 20 minutes later, the tire was changed. His knuckles were scraped, his jeans smeared with dirt, but he'd done it. The woman, mid-50s, neatly dressed, her dark hair pulled into a low twist, looked at him with something like surprise. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. "Don't worry about it," Daniel replied. "Glad I could help. Can I pay you?" she offered, but he shook his head. "No, ma'am. Just pay it forward." She gave him a soft smile. "Some people still amaze me." He didn't know why her words hit him so deeply. Maybe because he couldn't remember the last time someone said something kind to him. Maybe because he wished he amazed anyone, even a little. She climbed into her SUV. Before driving away, she rolled down the window. "Sir? What's your name?" "Daniel. Daniel Carter." "Thank you, Daniel. Truly." With that, she drove off, leaving him alone on the quiet road, hands frozen, shirt dirty, and heart strangely warmed. But reality rushed back quickly. He wasn't just late. He was dreadfully late. He rushed to work, an appliance warehouse where he loaded trucks. But as soon as he walked inside, he knew it was bad. The supervisor, a stern man named Kincaid, was waiting with arms crossed. "Carter," he barked, "this is the 3rd time this month." "I know, sir. But there was a woman. She was stranded. And Kincaid held up a hand. "Spare me the story. You're unreliable, and we can't afford that. Clock out. You're done here." Daniel felt the ground tilt beneath him. "Sir, please. I have a son. I really need this job." "Then you should have shown up on time," Kincaid snapped. Daniel walked out of the warehouse holding the cardboard box that had once held his few belongings, a coffee mug Noah painted, a photo in a cracked frame, and a folded letter from the court ordering child support payments from his ex-wife that never came. That he sat in the truck for a long moment before calling his friend Jamie to ask if she could pick up Noah from school so he could look for work. She agreed, sensing the heaviness in his voice. That night at home, he plastered a smile on his face while Noah chattered about dinosaurs and macaroni art. After dinner, once Noah fell asleep curled up with his stuffed alligator, Daniel sat at the tiny kitchen table, and stared at the eviction notice he'd been ignoring for 3 weeks. He had 5 days left. 5 days. He put his face in his hands. Just once, he thought, it would be nice if life didn't feel like walking through a storm with holes in his shoes. The next morning, he got a call he wasn't expecting. A courthouse clerk informed him that he'd been summoned for a mandatory hearing regarding his financial situation and overdue legal fees from his custody case. Without payment, the clerk warned grimly, he could potentially lose physical custody until he stabilized his situation. It felt like a punch straight to the chest. He showed up the next day, wearing his only dress shirt, the one with the faint coffee stain he hoped no one noticed. His stomach twisted as he entered the courtroom. He had no lawyer this time, no money for one, no strength left. When the judge walked in, he froze. It was her, the woman from the side of the road. Her eyes flicked across the courtroom and then paused. Recognition sparked. She straightened slightly in her chair, her expression shifting almost imperceptibly. "All rise," the bailiff announced. Daniel stood, heat creeping up his neck. When she began reading the case file, he braced himself. Judges didn't bend rules for personal feelings. She had every reason to rule against him. On paper, he was months behind on legal fees, had just lost his job, and had no way to prove stability. But then she spoke. "Mr. Carter," she said gently, "before we proceed, I'd like to clarify something. Are you the same Daniel Carter who helped me with my car 2 mornings ago?" A murmur rippled through the room. "Yes, Your Honor," he said quietly. "That was me." She nodded slowly, taking a long look at him over her reading glasses. "I thought so." She reviewed the documents again, then folded her hands. "Mr. Carter, I read through your case last night before I even realized who you were. I saw a father fighting to give his son stability in circumstances that would break most people. I also see someone who has consistently tried to pay what he owes, despite challenges beyond his control." Kincaid's words, unreliable, echoed in his head, but the judge's voice cut through them. "Life," she said, "has not treated you gently. Yet you still had the heart to stop on a cold morning and help someone you thought was a stranger. That matters." He swallowed, not trusting himself to speak. "I'm ruling to waive your outstanding late fees," she continued. "I'm also granting you an extension on the remaining balance and ordering community support services to help you secure employment and temporary assistance. And for the record, your custody of your son is not in jeopardy." Daniel didn't realize tears were slipping down his cheeks until her voice softened even more. "One act of kindness," she said, "often reveals more about someone's character than any document ever could." After the hearing, she stepped down from the bench and approached him. "Daniel, you didn't have to help me, but you did. And the world needs more people like you. Don't lose hope." He managed a trembling smile. "Thank you, ma'am. You have no idea what this means." "I think I do," she replied. Outside the courthouse, the cold air felt less biting. He called Noah's school, telling them he'd pick his son up himself today. He drove with the windows cracked, letting the wind dry the tears he hadn't quite learned to hide. When Noah climbed into the truck, chattering about his day, Daniel looked at him, this small, bright-eyed boy, and realized something. The road ahead was still uncertain, but it was no longer hopeless. And sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one choice, to turn a tide you didn't know could change. Kindness doesn't erase hardship. It doesn't magically fix life's storms. But it does build bridges, bridges that appear exactly when we need them most. Daniel didn't help that stranded woman because he expected anything in return. He helped her because doing good felt right, and because he chose compassion over convenience. Life found a way to lift him when he was falling. In a world where we all rush, where everyone has their own heavy load to carry, kindness is the one thing that always multiplies when shared. The next time someone needs a hand, an encouraging word, a moment of your time, a spot of generosity, remember Daniel's story. You never know whose life you're touching or how they might someday touch yours. Thank you for watching. And may kindness guide your steps today and every day.